One of the key elements, according to my experience, is to create for yourself as an individual, regardless of the chaotic race that is going on right now. And I do understand, and I am experiencing myself, of course, the pressure is on. In fact, in this transition point, the pressure is even greater. And that's for a reason, because we are collapsing the labyrinth of deception. And these walls are collapsing upon us because we have an extension that lives inside that prison. And that's the extension of our soul that lives inside our human instrument, which needs now to be awakened and put into functionality. It was all along dormant and asleep and in coma. This awakening can occur through shifting to the heart, shifting the focus to the heart, and allow and dissolve the rigidity of the ego mind, which will always make a lot of noise and tell you always that there is something for you to do. But if you take the time, you take that pause, create for yourself a sanctuary, and you don't need much. The individual does not need to go through any dimensional barrier to access the source. This is a secret that was hidden from this world all along, but now it's time to bring it to the world, because that will accelerate our individuated process and in return our collective process of liberation, of reclaiming our divine rights, our belongings. I call it letting go of the baggage and reclaiming the belongings. But it will happen one individual at a time. And so for the individual to create that quiet space for themselves, and in whatever way that they find suitable, and there are tools, and I can recommend tools, but just as a general idea, as a direction, as an arrow, is to move into the heart and to shift into the heart, to withdraw all the projections and all the hookups from the outside reality that is constantly keeping the mind entertained with trivial, unimportant, and soulless material in its majority, and slide through the portal of the heart into the inner being, into the quantum ocean. Now that experience is not going to be like any other experience in this physical world. Because what happens in this world is that it is operating absolutely independently of this world. It has its own way of operating, of cooperating. At this point, we're coming to where the portals are opening for us to be able to move into our liberating, transformational process, where each and every individual begins to become their own self-sufficient teacher, finding their true sovereign self within their inner being, moving through the heart into their quantum self, subquantum and beyond, and beginning to reveal the information directly from our divine fluid intelligence and from the repository of the divine wisdom and knowledge of all that is. And when we do that, we are beginning to pour into our genetic mind the real stories, and we begin to rewrite history. And in that rewriting, we're also reinventing ourselves anew, and we're opening an invitation for the source to fully descend into this world as we are ascending back home. So actually the process of ascension comes simultaneously with the process of descension. We're moving into a new era, and this is not about the individual ascending back home and leaving everything else behind. This is about the ascension of the lower self and the descension of the higher self and the fusion of the two, which will enable our source reality, our sovereign reality, to redress itself with this world. And once and for all, for our beloved source to inhabit this world fully and to redress with our human instruments. And in that way, we are actually realized in our divine right, and we manifested our real culture here, which will replace the separated cultures that we have known by far in this world. We are actually co-creating a new breed of humans. And we are creating a transmutation in our DNA And that is happening through that, through the accessing through the heart and beginning to allow the ocean of the real to pour into the world of dreams. And we're creating a transmutation in our DNA where that will create what's called spirit man, soul woman, sovereign man, sovereign woman realized on earth as it is in heaven.